Scottie Scheffler, I could go both ways on this, right? You lead the tournament on Saturday night, you shoot a 4 under 66 and you lose. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I think that Patrick is also right in the sense that you're starting to see a little bit of frustration from Scottie, whether it is putter related, whether it is the inability to close out as many of these as he thinks he should. But it was another week in which he led the field from tee to green and finished very close to the bottom with the flat stick, and another great payday, another great finish. He'll be number 1 going into Eastlake, and still somehow it feels disappointing.
Yeah, it does. Do you have the quote, Patrick? I didn't see it. Was it right? Was it right after his round today?
Yeah, he said, "I'm just a bit frustrated." I think that would be the way to describe it. I mean, Victor went out and really just beat me today and played a fantastic round. I can hold my head high. I did my best and fought hard, but came up short.
Yeah, I think that, well, first of all, I said this on HQ, Rick, but it's a privilege to be critiqued, right? We're not critiquing Scott Stallings of the world every week, and you don't get critiqued unless you're one of the best players in the world. And so I think that's one thing, but I think, this is it. You're right that 66 in a vacuum, 66 to lose a tournament is absolutely no big deal. But we don't operate in a vacuum. We have the context of the last 4 months of Scottie not like the thing that blows my mind is he's playing sort of how, even at a higher level than Rory has played for the last 10 years, right? And you see Rory for the last 10 years and he just runs into wins. He doesn't win every time he's in contention. He doesn't win every time he has a 54-hole lead, but at some point you just run into wins. You just run into them if you're hitting the golf ball like this. And Scottie's not running into wins. He's just sort of like we talk about, hey, this is his 4. It kind of also feels like his ceiling right now. And I think we haven't talked about that flip side of it of hey, is there more than this? Are we going to get more? And listen, I think the long-term answer is yes, probably. But I don't know what the short and medium-term answer is, because it just hasn't happened over the last, 15 starts.
How much more can you squeeze out of this, Greg? First off the tee, first on approach, 13th around the green. How much more juice is there to possibly squeeze?
Well, this is the thing that's so frustrating to me, and why I think the ceiling is way higher. It's not like,
is it?
Yes.
We keep saying that, and it keeps not being that.
I understand. And this is why it's so frustrating to me, because the thing that's holding him back is 6-foot putts. Right. This is not something that takes an extraordinary athletic effort to start making 6-foot putts. This is something that most PGA Tour players make a lot of, and he doesn't. I mean, he's one of the worst on the PGA Tour in that general area. I mean, today it's five misses inside of 7 feet today. There's a 3-putt in there. But it's constant. And I guess this is where I'm going, is if somebody can go through what Lucas Glover went through, then Scottie Scheffler can solve this problem. All right, this is something he can solve. I don't know if this new putter is the solution. What I saw today tells me that it's not. He may have to do something a little more dramatic, but this is something that you should be able to shore up without a tremendous amount of effort. I don't think it may take a lot of effort, but I don't think it's an outrageous ask that you make putts that are inside of 6 feet. I mean, not even all of them. You don't even have to run the table on them. Just make more than you miss. And it feels like when they go in for Scottie Scheffler, it's a sigh of relief as opposed to a surprise when he misses. So it's unbelievable.
The thing that I find so fascinating about this whole thing, Patrick, is it's really easy to see why Lucas Glover was at rock bottom and did something drastic. It's really easy to see when Webb Simpson or Keegan Bradley or some of these other guys are at rock bottom and do something drastic. Scottie Scheffler is literally the number one player in the world. That is not an exaggeration. He is literally the number one player in the world. The farthest thing you could be from rock bottom. He's phenomenal. How much incentive or how much would you have to be able to separate one aspect of your game and say, I'm going to do something drastic. I'm going to allocate a lot of time, energy, resources, mental, whatever, to fixing this when I'm the best in the world. That is what I think is the most interesting thing about the Scottie Scheffler conversation.
It is the spinning plate analogy. How much focus does he want to focus on that one plate that is his putting? And I think you got to put a damn lot on it, considering he could easily have 6 wins this season, 7 wins this season if he was an average putter. And when we sit here today, there are 8 players with as many or more wins than Scottie Scheffler this season, which is just absurd given how historic the tee to green season has been. And I think this one is especially frustrating because you see at the beginning of the back nine, him actually making putts. I mean, the one on the par 3 to take the lead, and then it kind of just all crumbled on him down the stretch. You don't take advantage of the par 5 15th. You have the 6-footer there on the par 3. He even said on 16 that, he kind of doubted the line a little bit. It wasn't able to make it. 17, whatever happened there. But I think what makes this one more frustrating is, unlike those other rounds, other tournaments, at Jack's Place where he lost 102 strokes putting, or at Colonial where he might have lost 104 that week, he legitimately was making putts this week, and it kind of just crumbled down the stretch.
So yeah. I got a question on this, and this is to answer your question, Rick. I mean, who leaves this tournament more disappointed, Scottie Scheffler or Sungjae Im? Sungjae Im came in 7th.
Yeah,
right. It's not even close.
Right.
So Scottie Scheffler constantly leaves tournaments very upset, right? Very disappointed at not winning.
Is there another sport that's like that, Greg? Where the closer you get to winning, the more disappointed you are?
Maybe
tennis.
Like in track and field, I'm thinking of other individual sports.
Yeah, it has to probably be an individual sport, and it probably has to be like something like there's so much it has to be a sport you don't like. Tennis you control a lot of. That's why Federer and those guys, there's a lot that you don't control in golf. There's a lot you don't control in F1. But there's
a lot of luck in golf that, like, on a short, like on a smaller term basis, that you probably don't get in some other sports.
And there's 4 days, so you can, on Friday you might put yourself in a position where Friday is the deciding round whether you can win or not. And it doesn't happen, but you play well, and you play well over the weekend, but you never get in contention. And you feel like, well, this means that next week I'm going to have a chance to win. But we always want to win. We want to hold the trophy at the end of the week. And so these good performances and signs of success and the whole team no putt model is all based on this idea that I'm going to put it together next week, or sometime in the future, and I'm going to end up holding the trophy. There's not really any value other than maybe $15 million or whatever Scottie's going to make on the golf course this year. There's 20. Not really any value in finishing second over and over and over and over and over again. If you don't, I kind of like you can become the number one player in the world and never win. Right. If you finish second every single week, and you can make a lot of money. I think what's crazy, Rick, to throw this back to you, is I didn't realize this. Greg mentioned it earlier, but Hovland
shoots 61. He's like, this is the best round of golf that I've ever played. We're talking about like the 4th best golfer on the planet. And he gained 4.6 strokes ball striking. And Scheffler gained more than that. He gained 5. Just a random, not a random, but like just a regular old Scottie Scheffler round. And he is, and this is what's extraordinary, is every single week, he is not just like the best ball striker in the field, but he's like by far the best. And that's the part where it's like, okay, if you're kind of around it, or if you're leading for the year, it's every single week. He's the best ball striker in the field. That has to be infuriating. And I would be curious, you don't have time to do this. Somebody should go look and see how many wins Scheffler would have this year if he was field average putting in every single tournament. Because I bet
somebody just put it in the chat.
Oh, really?
If we trust the chat, it's in the chat. So David,
the chat's never failed.
Says this is from 651. Josh, if Scottie putted at field average, he would have won between 4 and 5 extra wins. Some by 6 or more shots. Now, if we trust David, which I think we trust David, could be 6 to 7 wins.
4 to 5. So that would be Jack's Place, Colonial, maybe the Masters, maybe one. PGA. This one,
he still would have won Players.
I think U.S. Open.
Okay, PGA too, right?
I think he actually putted decently at PGA. I don't remember. I don't know.
He was 1 point. Well, yeah, he did 1.4 at the PGA.
Okay. So
I think there might be 1 or 2 that would have like gotten him into a playoff. So,
I want to go do that tomorrow. I'll get the actual numbers.
But
it'll take me like 3 hours, but I'm still going to do it.
But it's crazy. And we have said this before, Kyle, that like it has been very difficult for us to be able to provide context of what Scottie has done this year and how good it's been for how long it has been. And the only thing to do is like compare it to Tiger to get anybody's attention. And it's just been very difficult, but I don't know what, like strokes gained tee to green per win is going to be the highest number ever because it's just, he's going to have like 100 strokes gained tee to green this year, probably more than that, and 2 wins. And it's actually crazy.
Yeah. And I thought the best context that has been provided all year was the graph that you made that showed I think after the US Open, there's only one player that's been over 100 strokes gained from was it tee to green or ball striking?
It was probably tee to green, if I remember.
Okay, so tee to green, and he was almost at 200.
Yeah.
And it was like this dot. It was like Pluto out there. It was like this dot just randomly out here. And you had like Rory and Cantlay and Xander and Victor, all these guys. And it was like Scheffler's like out here. It was, I thought it actually really better than anything else contextualize how crazy this year has been for him.